Okay.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Chef AJ Live. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and this is where I introduce you to amazing people like you who are doing great things in the world that I think you should know about. My guest today is Debbie Adler, and she is the author of this wonderful book that is called Sweet, Savory, and Free. And today she is going to be making the recipe from page 174. Look how beautiful this is. It is called Sweet Potato and Parsnip Fritters with a Chipotle Lime AvoMayo. Please welcome Debbie to the show. It's very nice to meet you. I can't believe we lived in the same city blocks away, and I never met you when I lived there.
I know. That's life, and now you're not here anymore.
I know. Well, sure. Yeah, sure. I've lived in Sherman Oaks almost 50 years.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, I'm so happy we're connecting now. Better.
Me too.
Better now than never. So yeah. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. So your book, Sweet, Savory, and Free. Free of what?
Free of the top 8 food allergens. So my son was born with severe and life-threatening food allergies. My story begins a little before him, but just to answer your question about the free, there are these allergens. There are 8 of them, and they tend to be the ones that children and adults, but more so now children are born with. They're allergic to milk, they're allergic to wheat, they're allergic to shellfish, and what did they do, AJ? Eggs.
It says wheat, gluten, eggs, dairy, soy, peanuts, tree nuts, fish, right, or shellfish.
You got it. That's it. And so I decided when he was born, and we found out the hard way, because he anaphylaxis, excuse me, to some frozen yogurt when he was 1, and then some other things later on. We decided that we were going to try to figure out how to feed him, without eliminating every good thing. Like when at a birthday party, instead of giving him a rice cake, I needed to figure out how to give him another cupcake like the kids were eating, but something that was safe. So that's what I did. I made it my mission 13 years ago almost, to do that. And then I opened up a bakery, Sweet Debbie's Organic Cupcakes, which catered to this population because there are, about 15 million children in the United States alone that have these food allergies. And they're associated, they don't really know why, but they're associating it with the introduction of GMOs into our food supply, which started in 1984. And so they are, if you look at a graph, they show that autism and food allergies, starting in 1984, when the GMOs were introduced, started to rise together. Autism, food allergies. And so they think that might be related to why these children are being born with these food allergies. Because in our day, I don't remember anyone having food allergies in my class. So that's why this is my second cookbook. My first cookbook was based on the recipes from my bakery. So it's all sweets from my bakery. And it's not just allergen free, but it's also refined sugar free as well. So that was my first book, Sweet Debbie's Organic Treats. But we're talking about sweet, savory, and free, and that is why it's free.
Yeah. How did the allergies manifest in your son? How did you figure it out, and then how was it diagnosed?
Well, I gave him a taste of frozen yogurt when he was 1, and 20 minutes later he started to anaphylaxis, which means his body was reacting to the protein, which was casein. That is the protein found in milk. And that was what he was reacting to. And so it was obvious he was having trouble breathing and vomiting. And, eventually he passed out and almost stopped breathing. And we had to call 911. And that was the first one. And that was when we realized he had these allergies. But then later on, like a year later, he anaphylaxed to other things as well, like weird things like flaxseed, which is not one of the top 8. So that was a little bit trickier. So that's how we figured it out. We figured it out by, unfortunately, experiencing anaphylaxis several times.
That must have been really scary to have a
was.
one-year-old, because you probably didn't yet have an EpiPen or anything like that handy.
No, we did not. At the time, we did not. It was, well, that's why I look so old. It took years off my life and my husband's, I have to say it does change your life, and you have to live differently than other people in terms of when you go out, you have to have your food. You can't just be you can't just go and say, oh, we're hungry, let's go to a restaurant. You have to say plan ahead. You have to pack your lunch, and you have to pack a treat for a birthday party. And when you travel, you have to have the food. It's not there's no spontaneity when you have that kind of a situation.
Right. Were you guys plant-based at the time?
No, so when this is going back quite a while, almost 13 years. So no, after that happened, I started to do research because I just couldn't imagine why food was doing this to my son and to the other 13 million or 15 million kids in the country. And I started to research. And one of my books that I read was the China study. And that explained to me the whole situation with animal protein. And I thought, okay, that makes total sense to me. I'm going to do this. And at just that time, when I read the book, Dr. T. Colin Campbell was speaking at the healthcare nutrition, the plant-based nutrition healthcare conference in Anaheim. And I thought, I'm going to go see him in person. And so he and Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Greger, all our favorite doctors were there. And I went to that conference and I was hooked. I said, this is the way I'm going to go. This is about 6 years ago. And I said, I'm doing this. And I was all in and I never looked back. I came home. I said to my husband, we're doing this. This makes sense to me. And that was the beginning. And I just started doing my own recipes and then to make this come full circle, the publishing company that published Sweet, Savory, and Free was the publishing company that published the China study. So.
That's fantastic, because I noticed you have an endorsement by Dr. Campbell on your book. Yes. And by one of my favorite comedians, Ray Romano.
Yes. Yeah, he has food allergies as well.
That's interesting. Has your son's allergies gotten any better since going plant-based or since knowing what you know and not feeding him with allergens?
Yes, he has outgrown the dairy and the egg, thank God. And then the other ones, they have the protocol at UCLA now where they're giving little bits of the proteins that the kids are allergic to. And it's called desensitization. So you give a little bit at a time so the body gets used to it. So we're doing that and he seems to be okay with that. So he's not cured, but at least he can tolerate the small amounts. And so it gives us a little bit more freedom. We can now eat out, not during a pandemic, but in normal times we could go out and not worry as much.
How has he dealt with it? Is he taking it in stride, or is he doing pretty well with it? He understands the condition and he's gone.
Right. He has known nothing else since he was 1. So this was a norm for him. So not eating out was actually just normal for him. And I guess when he started school, he started to feel a little bit different than the other kids. So it was hard because there is a prejudice and there is exclusivity. They do exclude the kids who have the allergies. They put them at a different table and maybe they don't get invited to the birthday party because the parents don't want the responsibility. And so, yeah, there is that exclusion. But for the most part, I think he's adjusted very, very well. And now that he can eat a lot more things, he's making up for it. We have to eat out and, bring in, and, he wants to kind of make up for all that he missed those 11 years, but that's okay.
Well, it sounds like you took what could be a really horrible situation and turned it into something wonderful by creating your books and your bakery.
Absolutely. So yes, there is a silver lining. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see what you're going to make for us today.
Oh, okay. So as you said, it's a sweet potato parsnip fritter, and all it involves are basically these two things. And I know you love potatoes, Chef AJ. And And believe it or not, in my circles, a lot of people haven't heard of parsnip, which really surprised me because I've known of parsnip ever since I was a little girl. My mom used to put it in matzo ball soup. So the combination of sweet potato and parsnip, to me, tastes very good. Parsnip is a root vegetable. It's just like an albino carrot. It has folate and vitamin C, and it's very, very healthy. And you can find it in the grocery, in the produce section. It's very, very, I think it's readily available, but a lot of people have told me they have never seen one. So this is parsnip, this is sweet potato. And what I've done is I have boiled both of them. I cut them up and I boiled them for 10 minutes until they're fork tender. And that's all you have to do. I chose this recipe because it's very easy and you can make it easily during the week for weeknight dinner. It's so fast and you can do it in your food processor. So that's the sweet potato and parsnip. I just add a little bit of spicy mustard. You can use any mustard that you like. Oh, I have a funny story about cilantro, Chef AJ. I never used to like cilantro until I went on a field trip with my son and his class. We went to a farm and we were picking out the vegetables, and I just plucked out some cilantro and it smelled so good. I can't believe this is cilantro, because in the store it didn't smell the same, and I was never attracted to it. So because of that trip to the farm, I fell in love with cilantro. So that just shows you how potent and fresh getting something from the farm is, as opposed to going to the grocery store. And but if you have no choice, that cilantro is at the grocery store as well. And then just some pepper. I don't use salt anymore. I used to, but I don't add salt to anything anymore. And that's pretty much it. So it's just the sweet potato, the parsnip, the cilantro, the mustard, and pepper. And that's the base. That's the basis of your patty. And then I'm just going to. No. Oh, it's not in properly. There you go.
I love that you said I don't add salt anymore. When you tell people you don't eat salt, they look at you like you have 3 eyes.
Well, yes. I know what it does in the body. Lots of substitutes, so there's no reason to really have it anymore. And that's it. So that's the patty, but we're going to do a crust. So I'm not going to take out the patty yet. I'm just going to show you how I do my crust. So this is a coffee grinder, and I use it for everything but coffee. And what we're going to do is I'm taking some roasted, unsalted sunflower seeds. I love sunflower seeds. At first I used them because I couldn't use nuts. But now I just love them. They have a really good taste, especially when you roast them just a little bit. It has a beautiful nutty taste, and they're very high in vitamin E, which is good for the skin. And I'm just going to pulse this a little bit. This is going to be like, it has some texture, but you don't want it to be like flour, just a little bit of texture. And then it looks like that. And I'm just going to pour it into here. And then we're going to do some nutritional yeast, and then some Chipotle chili powder. And then that's going to be our crust. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make the patties and dip it into the crust. So I'm just going to mix this up. And then I'm going to take, I don't know, maybe 3 tablespoons, if I could find my spoon, of the patty dough, and then just, in my palm, make a little patty. You can make them as big or as small as you want. There is no real, I don't think it makes a difference. And then you just coat it in the crust, and there you have it. And then you have a little patty, And then I'm just going to put it onto a parchment lined pan like so. And then I'm just going to keep going until I use up all my dough here, patty dough. And like I said, it comes together very quickly. I have already preheated my oven to 400. And then when they're all done, I'm going to put them in for about 25, 30 minutes. If you want it really crunchy, you could leave it in for like 35 minutes. Sometimes people do like their patties really, really crunchy. And I'm not going to do the whole thing now because I want to show you how to make the AvoMayo, the Chipotle lime AvoMayo. It's really easy as well. So, oh, you know what? Oh, I do have to empty this because I'm going to use the same. I'm going to use the food processor for the AvoMayo. So we're going to.
Somebody's asking if you could do this raw. You have to cook the parsnip and sweet potato, don't you? Because it won't be soft enough otherwise.
Oh, you have to boil it. I boil it for 20 minutes, like 10 minutes till it's fork tender. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to do the fun part. I always like the condiment because that always makes it very, it's more fun that way. So we have avo, which is a good fat. It's good for your skin. I know do you find people are afraid of fat, Chef AJ?
Well, my people are because the people that work with me for weight loss, we tend to follow more of a lower fat diet, but avocado is probably the best one because it's the lowest in caloric density. It still has water in it. So that would be my vote. If you're going to eat fat, eat avocado over
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
More cilantro, because now I'm a freak with cilantro. We have some lime juice and more lime because you can never get enough of lime. Yeah, and then again, some chipotle chili powder. And you can get a lot of flavor without using salt. That's what I'm trying to show you is that I know you know this, and I'm sure a lot of your people know this. You don't need salt because you could get flavor from so many other things. And now I'm going to use some coconut nectar. Now, I just wanted a lot of people aren't familiar with coconut nectar. I use Coconut Secret. They don't pay me to do this, but I'm just going to show you because this is the best one. And it's better than maple syrup because maple syrup has a high glycemic index, whereas coconut nectar, which is just as sweet, does not. It's a low glycemic index. So, and it has a lot more enzymes and minerals and vitamins because they extract it from the coconut tree, very low temperature. So instead of maple syrup, this is a nice substitute if you don't want a high glycemic response in your body to whatever you're having it with. And then you just put, you pulse this together. And then I'm going to add some water as I pulse because it needs to thin out a little bit. And you have your AvoMayo. And I'm sure if you thinned it out even more, you could have a dressing out of it. I like making my own dressing. Okay, and that's it. And then when you're ready to eat your fritters, you just go to the oven. And they should look like this. These are already made. These are baked. And then you can, serve them with, like I show in the picture there, with coleslaw, with a salad. It goes with anything, or, by themselves on a sandwich. It's really,
They look delicious.
yeah, I love the crunchiness of what makes it for me is the crunchiness of the, of the sunflower seeds, and then the, the sweetness of the sweet potato inside. And then you have the mayo, the Chipotle lime AvoMayo to go on top. And to me, this is so fun. I mean, you could even put it in a tortilla, you can make a burrito out of it. And, you're eating something so healthy and so decadent, and, life is good.
That is beautiful. And your plate is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So let's make sure it's as good as it looks. Oh yeah, it's really good. Yeah, it's very good. It's everything I said. It's crunchy on the outside. It's smooth and sweet on the inside. And then the topping just adds that je ne sais quoi, fun, like a dressing on a salad. It's so good.
And Scott wants to know, how do you store them if there's leftovers? Do you just maybe reheat them up in the air fryer or something?
Oh, that's a good idea. I've never reheated in an air fryer. That's a very good idea. No, I just toast them in the toaster oven. But that's a very good idea, just to keep the crispness. But yeah, and I would just either put them in the freezer in an airtight container, and then just reheat it in a toaster oven. I'm pointing to my toaster oven. Or even in the microwave, but I'm not sure if it would maintain the crispiness in the microwave. I'm sure it would, but yeah, just in the toaster oven, I think it's simpler, but I'm going to try the air fryer next time.
What are some of your son's favorite foods?
Well, that's a good question. He's very simple. He likes crispy kale. He loves the crispy kale. He loves these. As a matter of fact, I tell a story of how I bribe him. If he reads, I'll make these for him. So these are one of his favorite. He loves my miso soup. It's like a ramen. It's also in the book. It's like a sweet potato ramen noodle soup that he always points to that. And he tells people, this is my favorite in the whole book. So, he's very basic though, not too many sauces, just very simple.
Yeah. Lauren wants to know how old your son is. I believe he's going to be 13 or he's 13.
Yeah, he's 13. He'll be bar mitzvah June 12th, if anyone wants to come.
Tell us a bit about the bakery.
So before my son was even born, I started my bakery because I wanted to find something. I had moved here quite a while ago, like 20 years ago, and there was no sugar-free stuff anywhere. It was all like sucralose. And even at Whole Foods, there was nothing. And so I said, oh my God, I can't believe, so your people know my background. I'm from New York, as if you can't tell from my accent. I was a CPA on Wall Street for several years. And this was in the times when, there was carbs and greed, and I didn't care. I was eating Fig Newtons and ice cream. And eventually I looked like Miss Piggy with an attaché case. And I knew that I needed a change in my life. And I moved out to California without knowing what I was going to do. I mean, I wanted to be in the entertainment industry and, do all that. But my love of healthy food really took over. And that's when I started to realize there was a dearth of healthy treats. I have a very strong sweet tooth. So I couldn't find anything. I said, oh my God, I'm going to have to be the one to figure this out in terms of no sugar in treats. And so I figured it out, and it started with cupcakes. That was my favorite at the time. And and people said, this is so good, you have to open a bakery. And so I did. And so in 2006, I opened Sweet Debbie's Organic Cupcakes. And as I said, I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. Well, the entertainment industry came to me. They were knocking on my oven, wanting my cupcakes. Like all the A-list actors and the producers and the directors and the studios, they wanted this because it was healthy and people wanted something healthy, but they also wanted dessert. And that's how it started. And I make other things as well, brownies and muffins and granola bars and donut holes. So yeah, and obviously people wanted it. And then when my son was born in 2008, but we found that was when he was born. But in 2009, when he was 1, we found out that he was allergic to so many things. That's when I converted it to make it was vegan and sugar-free, but then I converted it in 2009 to make it completely top 8 allergen-free.
That is really, really cool. Is it only an in-person bakery or can people order online?
They could order online. We ship all over the United States and also deliver all over LA. Yeah, but not now. But yes, that's how it works.
That is so cool. I love what you've done with what many people would just think is the worst thing that could happen. You really created something wonderful out of it.
Yeah, well, your sweet tooth really drives you. And then, of course, when you have children, your children drive you to do what they need you to do, which is save their life. And any mom would do the same. You want to save your child's life, you do what you have to do.
That's great. Do you think the patties can be frozen?
Yes, I think so.
Nice. Do you cook every day for your family?
I wouldn't say every day. I used to, but I realize it's okay to take a break now and then. So I do take breaks, and they're nice, they're nice restaurants in Sherman Oaks that deliver. We don't go out, obviously, because of the pandemic, but I cook a lot, but not every day.
Nice. Do you like to use Instant Pot?
I don't have one. I don't have.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I asked a friend, should I get one? And she goes, no, you're too, what did she say? She says, you're beyond that. You don't need an Instant Pot. You just make things. You don't need it. Like she kept saying, you don't need it because you do things that you don't need. Anyway, I was convinced that I don't need it, but I probably do.
That is so funny because I usually convince people the other way just because it makes things, it's so quick. That is so funny that.
You're like, what do you, I've seen you use it on your show. I mean, I've seen you do stuff in it, like you make your potatoes in it. I've seen you do that.
You can make rice in it. You can make beans in it. You can stew vegetables in it. You can saute in it.
Yeah, I know. Maybe if I have more counter space, because right now it doesn't look like I do, but maybe one day if I can find a little space, I'll get one.
That's funny. Amy says she doesn't know that she really needs it.
Ignorance is bliss.
That's funny. Yeah, I think that if you don't have one, you can do without one. But once you have one, I think it's hard to do without it. Because like, for example, Amy was saying corn on the cob. We had that the other night, 0 minutes. It's like 0 minutes to make corn. It's like amazing.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know what I'm missing, actually.
Yeah. I'm just curious, with all your son's food allergies, does he or did he have other allergies, like things in the environment, pets, or was it just those foods?
It's mostly the foods, but he does have environmental allergy. He has terrible hay fever. It's very, very bad. Not pets, thank goodness, because we have a dog and that, is really nice. But the most is the food allergies, and yes, environmental, like during the spring season, he'll start to sneeze, and that's controllable with Zyrtec, it's not so bad.
Right. What's the most popular item at your bakery?
Oh, the Chocoholic cupcakes. Those are the most popular.
Wow. Who's the most famous person that ever came in?
Oh my God. I haven't. Well, Gwyneth Paltrow was the first. She actually was the first celebrity to buy my stuff. I would say she really has this good people around her who tell her where to go first. Like she always is the first one to try all the new stuff. So she was the first in 2006. But then it went from there, producer Brian Grazer, Ray Romano. The list is, I'm going blank. Magic Johnson. Who else? I'm trying to think of who I, just think, all the people who, are, have that health kick, William Macy, that or that their kids have food allergies. Those are usually the people, or and a lot of them don't even have food allergy. They just want the sugar-free aspect of it, and that it's healthy, it's gluten-free, it's clean, all clean ingredients. I have a really clean gluten-free flour mix that we make. It doesn't have that white, a lot of them have that white flour in them, the sweet rice flour, which is very high glycemic. I don't use that. I use very high protein, sorghum and millet and quinoa flour. So all very, very good ingredients. So
they're not necessarily coming because it's vegan, but that's just a bonus.
It's a it's a bonus. Yeah, they could probably have anything they want, but they want that.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if any of them would even consider becoming vegan, just based on how good the desserts are.
I'm sure they do. They're very aware. They're just on top of all of those things. They have people around them telling them what the latest, the science is, and they want to do what's right for them and for their bodies, and they want the best for their kids. So, yep, I would agree with that.
Wow. So is your whole family plant-based?
Not I'm the only one that's 100%, and my husband is mostly, but my son, not, he's getting there, but not 100% because he's restricted in so many other things that I don't push it. I try to push it, but I'm trying not to make food an issue because it already is. So I try to be cool about it, even though I'm like, this is going to save your life, but, so me and my husband and then my son, most of the time.
Nice. Very good. That recipe did not take very long. I'm impressed.
I know. Yeah. That's why I chose it, because I want people to see how easy it is to make a plant-based meal in 5 minutes. Of course it takes 25 minutes in the oven though. But that's the only thing, hands-on, it's 5 minutes, but then you just leave it in the oven and then it's done in 25, 30 minutes.
Do you have a favorite recipe either from this book or just in life?
Oh, wow. That's a very good question. I'm trying to think, because I always do make the same thing over and over. I'm trying to think what it is. I tend to like mushroom dishes. I have let's see. I have a green curry portobello that's delicious. I love mushrooms. So anything with mushrooms. I have an herb mushroom ragu, which is delicious. People tell me they lick the plate after they make it. That's the herb mushroom ragu. I just love, I love gnocchi. I love pesto. So I have a gnocchi with pesto. That's delicious. And that's also very easy. People get intimidated by making their own gnocchi, but it's so easy when you realize all you're doing is using a food processor and rolling it out into a string and then cutting it and throwing it in a boiling pot of water. And that's how you make gnocchi. And noodle, I'm a noodle person, and I make my own pumpkin ravioli. This is so you can make your own pumpkin ravioli. It's really delicious. Also with pesto, there's a theme here. Pesto, pesto, pesto. And what else? So yeah, I would say those are my top. And then of course, it's all Greek to me pizza. That I make a lot because it's just so satisfying, and it's topped with a lot of vegetables. So I would say those are my top recipes, but I only put in things that I really like. The whole book is really things that I like, and I left out some things because I said, you know what, it's not good enough. It's good, but it's not good enough for the book. So so everything is really good, but I would say those are the things I make the most.
Nice. Do you teach any cooking classes in Los Angeles?
I do it online. I do have courses that people can buy online, and then it's recorded, and then people can just watch at the leisure to learn how to cook plant-based and learn all about plant-based nutrition and, you know, how to do it so it's good for your gut, how to get all your vitamins. And, you know, so I have courses that go through the whole thing, and that's how I do it.
You mentioned gut, and I'm wondering, like, if allergies have something to do with the microbiome that they just haven't discovered yet.
It does. It absolutely does. And they're figuring it out right now that they could probably change something within the gut and make these kids better. And they're doing the research at UCLA right now to figure that out. And I think they're on the cusp of a cure because of what you said, the microbiome. Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you eat, Debbie, like on a daily basis? And are you an avid exerciser?
Well, I eat everything, you know, everything plant-based, because I can't be miserable. Like if I'm denying myself something that I like, I'll just be miserable. And that I've never been a good dieter or anything like that. So I just eat plant-based, and I make sure that what I have in the house is really good and satisfying. Like I said, you know, I like noodles, and I love salads, and I like good dressings, and I like things like this. So I make sure it's always in the refrigerator. And I exercise for fun, like I dance, and you know, I have an elliptical in the garage. So I make sure it's fun and it's to music, because again, if I'm miserable, I'm not going to do it. So yeah, I do exercise, but it's not like I go to the gym and I have a train. I don't do that.
Nice. Well, you look great.
Oh, thank you. You too. And your skin is so gorgeous, and I admire your skin.
Well, thank you. You know, people have been saying that only the last couple of years, and people don't like my answer. I don't put my face in the sun anymore. I really do cover it up, like with a full coverage hat. And
that's good. That's why it looks so good. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Let's see if there's any. Guys, have any more questions for Debbie? So, what your other book? I don't know if you have it handy to show it, but maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Sure. And while she's gone to get her book, I will tell you the guest tomorrow is, we have two shows. We have Dr. Edwin McDonald at 11 and Dr. Doug Lyle and Dr. Jen Hawk at 2:30.
So yeah, this is Sweet Debbie's Organic Treats. That was my first book. And that is all the recipes from my bakery, for starting with the cupcakes. This is the Chocoholic one that I spoke about being the most popular. And then it goes on from there. You know, banana muffins and pumpkin muffins and blondies and instead of peanut butter, there's sunflower butter chocolate chip. And that's my son when he was 5, eating a chocolate chip cookie. And this is what is it? Oh, mandel bread. Chocoholic cupcakes. That's the most popular thing at the bakery. Red velvet. Oh, this was my holy grail. I was trying to figure out how to make red velvet without using the dye, because I didn't want to use dye because that's against my principles. And that took me years. And I finally figured it out. And that's in the book. So I'm very proud of the fact I figured out how to do red velvet cupcakes without using red dye. That's granola, blueberry donut holes, more donut holes. That's my bakery. That's me in the front. And that's some bread in the back. And that's it.
That's beautiful. Do you do the photography yourself?
No, I now do it. At the time, I did not. I hired a very good photographer called Cravats. He did the photography at the time, going back to 2013. But now I do my own photography because I learned, you know, it's good to know how to do things yourself.
People are asking if your bakery has its own website.
It did. It's down right now, but it'll be back up when we're back. But yeah, I'll let you know about that.
Great, thank
Yeah.
you. You know, I was thinking with the patties, have you ever thought about making them ever into balls like falafel?
Oh, yeah. Well, I do have a falafel recipe, but yeah, this would be good as falafel. You're right. That would be a very good thing. Just make them smaller and roll them up, and you can make a falafel out of it. That's a very good idea because I love falafel. There's actually a falafel recipe in this book that is delicious, but you could certainly make falafel out of this as well. So yeah, I mean, anything Mediterranean is delicious, and falafel is probably one of my favorites. So yeah, that's a very good idea.
That's great.
Yeah, this is the falafel recipe from Sweet, Savory, and Free. But yeah, you could do it with this too.
That's beautiful. This has just been wonderful. It's so nice getting to know you, and the
Yeah.
recipe looks amazing. And guys,
Thank
please
you.
check out Debbie's book, Sweet, Savory, and Free. And if you joined us late, it's free of the top 8 allergens, which are wheat, gluten, eggs, dairy, soy, peanuts, tree nuts, fish, or shellfish. And I'm probably allergic to 4 of them. And this was even before GMOs. So I don't know. There's something to that.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but always dairy and soy and wheat and gluten. So I don't know. I'm a little bit older than your son. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot older than your son. Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
So the bakery isn't shipping right now. Is that correct? It's not open right now.
Right. Yeah, it will again. But
when it does, contact me, and then in the show notes, I can add that. I don't want to add it now if they can't get it.
Right.
They can get it.
Absolutely. But in the meantime, the people can sign up for free recipes at www.debbieadler.tv. And they will get immediately some of the most popular the plant-based recipes that I make at home. So if people want that for now, they could opt in at that.
I'm going to put that in both the chat and the show notes. It's right there, guys. So perfect. I'm going to sign them. So, well, thank you so much, Debbie. And Mazel Tov on creating, lemonade from, as my mom would say, lemons.
Right. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun to finally meet you.
My pleasure. Maybe you'll come back another time, like I'm booking for the fall, and you'll do a recipe from your other book.
Yes. Yeah, I would love that. I would.
And by then, maybe the bakery will be open.
Yes. And I'm working on a 3rd book. And so maybe it'll be out by then, but we'll see. I'm just working on it now. So I'll let you know about that at that time. So that's another possibility.
Please do. Are you able to say what the 3rd book is about?
It's about Mediterranean plant-based recipes. Yeah.
And will it still be allergen-free like your other books?
I don't think so. It's turning out to be not as allergen-free because I'm not as worried about that anymore. So I'm trying to expand a little bit, but I do give options for if you do have the allergy, this is what you do. So I'm sensitive to that, but this will be more just about the plant-based Mediterranean experience.
Well, that's great. Well, I love that you just aren't like pouring salt all over food. It's just so many chefs and recipe creators, you take salt away and they don't know how to make food taste good anymore.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I know.
Monarch says, Mazel Tov to your son on his bar mitzvah.
Oh, thank you so much. I wonder if I can see them. Let me see.
How old is your dog?
He's 4.
Okay. So then in another 9 years, he can have a bark mitzvah.
Yes. That's a very good idea. Yes, he will.
And you can make him some gluten-free dog biscuits or something like
that. Yeah. I know. That's a very good idea. Well, I'm sure we'll take pictures of that.
That'd be great. Well, thank you so much, Debbie.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Anytime. And thanks to all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow when my guest is Dr. Edwin McDonald. He is a plant-based gastroenterologist, and he's also a culinary school graduate. So I'm not sure if he's going to be cooking or talking, well, he'll probably be talking regardless, or both. Thanks again, Debbie. Say hi to Sherman Oaks for me and Farm Boy.
I will. We miss you. Bye.